let's get current affairs now. Raila will testify for Ruto, rather offers to testify for Ruto. This after calls that he does so. What do you think about that, Gitao?
Well, Raila always have an agenda. I mean, the sudden the development that story that Raila will suddenly go to the ICC and testify for Ruto. I read some mischief into it, because why hasn't he done it before? Why now?
But he was just responding to calls that he does it.
And I think the whole idea is to exonerate ODM from the post-election violence which happened in 2008-2007. Well, it's interesting to see what Raila will do and what he will say. And I also think it's a road which has not been cleared on this, because if Raila goes to the ICC to testify for Ruto, where does that is he doing it for ODM, or is he trying to save Ruto? Well, the idea is Ruto is innocent until proven guilty. So we wait to see and what exactly does Raila have to say to get Ruto off the hook.
All right, so Senator, this of course has just been the political scene, all these conversations, testify for him, I don't know. In terms of whether in actual fact those conversations have happened, from the lawyer's perspective, we do not know that. But what do you think of first even the calls for him to testify?
You know, I think it was supposed to put him in a corner.
Yeah.
And as usual, he wiggled himself out of the corner in a political way by saying, you know, bring it on. Yeah, in fact, the few times I've ever had Raila speak about the ICC, I know he holds a certain position that, at least to the best of his knowledge, he is not aware of any particular organization or whatever that Ruto put into place. And I think he's one of those who largely believes that the post-election violence was extremely spontaneous. So there was nothing that, you know, meets the threshold before the ICC. So but for I think the mischief, Gitao, to be sincere, was from the part of the Jubilee coalition or members of the URP who just so suddenly brought it up, hoping to create a national debate and paint Raila like a person you know, who played a central role in Ruto's predicament. And I think Ruto, I've kept saying this, people try to lose this narrative. Ruto has accused everybody else of fixing him, but he has not been able to present before the theater of the courts any evidence, or even insinuations that Raila or anybody else from the ODM party fixed him.
Well, maybe that will happen. He's yet to have his time in court.
But he's already put forth that one of the people who in one of the examination in chief, he put forth in cross-examination he put forth a litany of names. But
he's yet to present his own side.
I can tell you for a fact.
So you don't think that anything
in fact, the truth is, from a purely a strategy point of view, legal strategy point of view, forget political, Karim Khan should embrace this opportunity. It sends a certain confidence in the court that even those in the ODM at that time are willing to attest to his innocence. It helps in terms of building the credibility of the case. So from purely a legal strategy point of view, I don't think it will be necessarily mischief. It will be fact if Raila wants, if I was the defense lawyer and Raila says he wants to he's prepared to take the stand for us, we'll come and agree on the set of questions we want to ask him so that we rebut part of the evidence, and that becomes one of our star witnesses.
Okay. What do you make of this?
I think I would say that every effort should be put in place to prove the innocence of the deputy president and to get his freedom. And I am one person who believes that whatever it costs should be done to ensure that it comes out. But looking at it, I would only fault Raila on one side. I think one time, out of anger or something, he said these people belong to jail. And that would bring in another angle. But in terms of legal strategy, in terms of law, Raila would present a picture that would be able to demonstrate to that court that some of these things that the deputy president is accused of were actually, if he agrees to testify and say, look, I think Ruto is innocent, I think some of these things did not happen, then that kind of testimony would be, in my view, very, very useful. Very useful for the defense team, very useful for Honorable Ruto. But politically, it would be disaster for the Jubilee coalition. Why do I say so? Suppose he testifies, tries to save Ruto, testifies on his behalf and talks about his innocence, and he is convicted. It will be a disaster.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
And that's why I say I did mischief.
A disaster that would make him celebrate.
Yeah. And let's say Ruto is vindicated from the ICC. Then who then is responsible for the violence, for the post-election violence? That we know we are looking at a bigger picture here. Let's say Raila goes and says the evidence Raila will give vindicates Ruto from the ICC and the case collapses. Then where does that leave us? Or where is justice for the...
So are you saying he needs to be found guilty so that...
No. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
What I'm
just
saying
clarify.
Is, so what I'm saying is,
yeah.
I'm saying as he just said, it will be a political disaster in the long run. And that will not work very well.
These are legal issues for William Samoei Ruto. Whatever the price he must pay, whatever sacrifices that must be made, whatever strategies that must be put in place. It is not about whether we secure a coalition or not. We must secure, what is his primary objective is to secure his innocence and to secure his release.
Right.
So these political implications are hogwash for as long as that strategy works for Ruto. And if it works for him,